The afternoon light spilled softly through the kitchen window, casting a golden glow across the counter where TaylorSwift stood arranging a plate of freshly baked cookies. The house was filled with the comforting scent of vanilla and sugar, the kind of warmth that only family brings. Wyatt sat at the kitchen island, her small legs swinging beneath the chair, hair in messy pigtails from a day of running around the backyard. She was drawing something in crayon, crooked hearts and stick figures, when she looked up at Taylor with a seriousness far too heavy for her 6 years. "Aunt Taylor," she said quietly. "You're my real mom." The words landed like a lightning strike. Taylor froze, the plate in her hands trembling. For a heartbeat, she thought she'd misheard. "What? What did you say, sweetie?" Taylor asked softly, setting the cookies down, her pulse suddenly loud in her ears. "You're my real mom," Wyatt repeated, her voice innocent but certain. "Mommy's always busy with the babies, but you play games with me. You brush my hair. You listen to my stories. You're my real mom." Taylor's heart cracked open. The truth behind the words, however unintentional, pierced straight through her. She blinked fast, trying to keep her composure. "Wyatt, honey," Taylor began carefully, crouching to meet the girl's gaze. "I'm your aunt, but I love you very, very much, maybe like a mom would." And then, a sound. The front door, footsteps. Kylie Kelce appeared in the doorway, arms full of grocery bags, her expression bright, until she heard what her daughter had just said. The bags slipped from her hands. Glass shattered. Oranges rolled across the tile floor. For a long, unbearable moment, no one spoke. The sound of the glass breaking seemed to echo forever. Taylor's breath caught as Kylie just stood there, motionless, her face drained of color. One orange came to rest against her shoe, but she didn't move to pick it up. Her eyes were locked on Wyatt. Kylie's voice trembled. "What did you just say?" Wyatt turned, innocent and unafraid. "I told Aunt Taylor that she's my real mom," she said simply. "Because she is. Mommy, you're always with the babies, but Aunt Taylor takes care of me. She plays with me. She helps me. She's nicer." The words hit like arrows, each one sharper than the last. Taylor saw Kylie's lip tremble, her eyes glistening. Her hands shook as she bent down to gather the groceries, but the pieces of glass clinked uselessly in her fingers. "Wyatt Ray Kelce," Kylie said at last, her voice breaking. "That's not true, and you know it." "Yes, it is." Wyatt's small voice rose, full of stubborn hurt. "You're always busy with Elliot and Bennett. You never have time for me anymore. But Aunt Taylor does. She picks me up from school. She helps me with homework. She tells me bedtime stories." Tears slid down Kylie's cheeks. She looked utterly lost. A mother watching her child choose someone else. Taylor's heart ached for both of them. She knelt beside Wyatt, speaking gently. "Sweetheart, your mom loves you so much. She's just been busy because your brother and sister are still babies. They need her a lot right now." Wyatt crossed her arms, chin quivering. "Then she shouldn't have had more babies," she blurted out. "I was happy when it was just me." The words silenced the room. Kylie flinched, her composure cracking. "Wyatt, that's enough!" She snapped, then immediately winced, guilt flooding her face. "Go to your room, please." "No," Wyatt shouted, tears streaming now. "You're just mad because I told the truth." Before anyone could stop her, she jumped off the stool, tiny feet pounding against the tile as she ran upstairs. A door slammed so hard the walls shook, and then silence. The kind that hurts more than any sound ever could. The silence that followed felt suffocating. Taylor slowly bent down to help Kylie, who was still kneeling on the floor, trembling hands gathering what remained of the spilled groceries. Jars rolled away. Tears splattered onto the tile. "Lee," Taylor said softly, reaching out. "I'm so sorry." "Don't," Kylie whispered, her voice tight, raw. "Please don't apologize for something that's my fault." "It's not your fault," Taylor insisted. Kylie looked up then, and Taylor saw a kind of heartbreak she'd never seen before, the kind that only comes from a wound no one else can see. "My 6-year-old daughter just told me she thinks you're more of a mother to her than I am. How could that not be my fault?" Taylor opened her mouth, then closed it again. What could she say? Because deep down, a small part of her knew Wyatt hadn't been wrong. Over the past year, Taylor had been there more than she realized. Picking Wyatt up from school, helping with homework, dance recitals, sleepovers, piano lessons, laughter and bedtime stories. She told herself she was helping, being a good aunt, but she'd loved it too. Maybe too much. I'll pull back, Taylor said quietly. I'll create some distance. I didn't mean to. You weren't doing anything wrong, Kylie interrupted, standing and setting the remaining groceries on the counter. You were helping. You were kind. You were there when I wasn't. This isn't about you doing too much. It's about me doing too little. She pressed her palms against the cold marble countertop, shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Taylor hesitated, unsure what to do. Comfort her? Give her space? Leave her alone? Kylie, she said softly, you're not failing. You're just exhausted. You have 3 kids under 7. Anyone would be overwhelmed. But I'm not anyone, Taylor, Kylie whispered, lifting her tear-streaked face. I'm their mother, and my daughter feels like I've abandoned her. Upstairs, faint sobs drifted through the ceiling. Wyatt's. Both women froze, listening. The sound broke them equally. Kylie straightened, wiping her face roughly. I should go talk to her. Do you want me to? Taylor asked gently. Kylie shook her head. No, I need to be her mother, even if she doesn't want me right now. At the doorway, she turned back, eyes filled with pain and gratitude. Thank you, Taylor, she said quietly, for loving her when I couldn't, even if it hurts to admit that she needed you. Because I wasn't enough. You are enough, Kylie, Taylor said. You always were, but Kylie didn't answer. She just nodded and walked upstairs, toward her daughter's cries and her own redemption. Taylor stayed in the kitchen, surrounded by the mess, spilled cereal, crushed fruit, a shattered jar that still oozed sticky jam across the floor. But the only thing she could hear was the faint, uneven sound of Wyatt crying through the thin walls of the old house. She wanted to follow, to fix things, to do something. But this time, she knew she couldn't. This was a moment that didn't belong to her. Upstairs, a soft knock echoed down the staircase. Wyatt. Baby, please let me in, Kylie's voice pleaded, trembling but gentle. No, Wyatt cried, muffled by the door. You're mad at me. I'm not mad, sweetheart, Kylie said. I'm sad. There's a difference. A pause. The quiet stretch between 2 heartbeats. Then a small voice. Why are you sad? Because you think I don't love you, Kylie whispered, her voice breaking. And that hurts more than anything. Taylor closed her eyes, listening. Every word cut deep, yet it was beautiful in its honesty. You don't act like you love me, Wyatt said after a moment. You only love the babies. Kylie's next words were barely steady. That's not true, baby. I love you more than you can imagine. I just haven't been showing it well lately, and I'm sorry. So sorry. Wyatt sniffled. You're always tired and busy. When I want to play, you say not now or ask Daddy or maybe later. But Aunt Taylor never says that. Taylor pressed a trembling hand over her mouth. I know, Kylie said gently. But Aunt Taylor doesn't have 3 little kids, baby. She doesn't have to feed them every 3 hours, or change diapers every hour, or rock them to sleep. She gets to be the fun one, the one who isn't exhausted. So, it's the baby's fault? Wyatt asked softly. No, sweetheart. It's nobody's fault. It's just hard. Being a mom to 3 kids is really, really hard. And I've been so focused on your brother and sister that I forgot something important. What? That even big girls need their mom. There was silence again. Then the creak of a door opening. Taylor stopped breathing. I don't want to be independent, Wyatt's voice whispered through the quiet. I just want my mommy. And then came the sound that broke Taylor completely. Kylie's sob, followed by the soft rustle of arms wrapping around a child. You have me, baby, Kylie cried. You've always had me. I promise I'm here. And I'm going to do better. You made me a mom, Wyatt, before Elliot, before Bennett. You were my first, my special girl, a sniffle. Then Wyatt's small voice again. Can I still see Aunt Taylor sometimes? Of course you can, Kylie said, her tone full of love now. She's your aunt and she loves you. But maybe we find a better balance, More time for you and me. Some for her, too. Okay, Wyatt said softly. That sounds fair. And then the sound of healing. A mother and daughter holding each other, crying together. Forgiveness stitched quietly between them. Taylor smiled through her own tears. She wiped the counter, cleaned the floor, and slipped out the front door to give them privacy, texting Travis that she was heading home, that Kylie and Wyatt needed this time together. When Travis came home later that evening, the house felt unusually quiet. He found Taylor sitting on the couch, still in her jeans and sweater, staring blankly at the wall. The TV was off. The lights were dim. "Hey," he said softly, setting down his gym bag. "Got your text? What happened?" Taylor didn't look up at first. Her voice was steady but fragile. "Wyatt told Kylie that I'm her real mom." Travis froze. "She what?" Taylor finally turned toward him, eyes glistening. Kylie heard it. She was devastated. "I stayed to help clean up, but it was awful, Trav. I've never seen her like that." He sat beside her, letting out a long breath. "Damn. I didn't mean for it to get this far," Taylor whispered. "I was just helping. You know, picking Wyatt up, keeping her company, giving Kylie a break. But somewhere along the way, I became too important." "I didn't see it happening." Travis reached over and took her hand. "Hey, you didn't do anything wrong. You stepped in when Kylie was drowning. You gave that little girl love when she needed it. Then why do I feel so guilty?" "Because you care too much," he said gently. "That's your curse and your gift, Tay." She gave a weak laugh through tears. "Maybe I should have pulled back sooner. Maybe I should have told Wyatt to spend more time with her mom instead of always saying yes when she wanted me around." "Or maybe," Travis said, brushing his thumb over her hand, "you were exactly what Wyatt needed. You didn't replace Kylie. You just filled a space until Kylie could come back to it." "There's nothing wrong with that." Taylor leaned into his shoulder, exhausted. "Still, I think I need to step back a little. Kylie needs to rebuild that bond with Wyatt, and I don't want to stand in the way." Travis nodded. "That's fair. But don't disappear completely. Wyatt still needs you, just differently now. You're her aunt, not her mom, and that's still a beautiful thing." Taylor sighed, the guilt softening just enough to let peace slip through. "You're right," he smiled. "I usually am." And for the first time that day, Taylor smiled too. 2 weeks later, Taylor sat at a small corner table in a quiet coffee shop, nervously stirring her drink even though it had already gone cold. The bell above the door jingled, and she looked up to see Kylie walking in. Tired but composed, her hair pulled back, her eyes softer than the last time they'd met. Kylie hesitated for a moment before approaching, then offered a small, uncertain smile. "Hey, Taylor said, standing to hug her. It was brief, a little awkward, but genuine. They sat down, silence stretching between them for several seconds until Kylie finally spoke first. "I owe you an apology." Taylor shook her head. "No, I do. I made you feel guilty for loving your own niece." "That wasn't fair." Kylie's lips trembled into a faint smile. "Taylor, you don't have to defend me. I was jealous, and I took that jealousy out on you instead of facing what was really going on." "What was going on?" Taylor asked softly. Kylie took a deep breath, eyes glistening but steady. "Postpartum depression. Severe, apparently. I've been seeing a therapist. For months, I was just surviving, running on empty. I didn't even realize how far away I'd drifted from Wyatt until she said those words." Taylor reached across the table, squeezing her hand. "Kylie, I'm so sorry you were going through that alone." Kylie nodded slowly. "I thought I was doing okay, but I wasn't, and Wyatt felt that. She needed me, and I wasn't there. You were. You filled the space I left behind, and instead of being grateful, I got angry. But that wasn't your fault. That was mine." Taylor's throat tightened. "Kylie, you don't have to apologize for being human. You were overwhelmed, and I was, well, maybe a little too available." Kylie laughed weakly. "That's just who you are, Tay. You love deeply. You care, and Wyatt needed that." Taylor smiled sadly. "How's she doing now?" "Better," Kylie said, a flicker of hope returning to her eyes. We've been doing Mommy and Wyatt time every day. Just us, no babies, no noise. We bake, we paint, we talk. She's starting to come back to me, slowly, but she still asks about you. She does. Every other day, Kylie said with a smile. You're her Aunt Taylor. She loves you, and I don't want to take that away from her. I just need her to know who her mother is. Taylor nodded. Of course. Whatever boundaries you need, I'll respect them. I never want to come between you two. Kylie's eyes softened. Maybe we just need a little structure, like a schedule, so Wyatt knows she'll see you every Saturday, but weekdays are family time. That way she's not choosing. She just gets both of us in balance. That sounds perfect, Taylor said with relief. Really? For the first time in weeks, both women smiled without tears. The new routine worked better than anyone expected. Every Saturday afternoon, Wyatt would arrive at Taylor's house, bursting through the door with stories, drawings, and a backpack full of glitter and crayons. They'd bake cookies, build pillow forts, play piano. The same joy as before, but this time without the guilt that once shadowed it. And every weekday, Kylie made time for her daughter. Real time. No distractions. No phone in hand. Just laughter, flour on their faces, and bedtime stories whispered in the quiet glow of night. Weeks turned into months, and the balance slowly found its rhythm. One evening, during one of their usual playdates, Wyatt accidentally slipped again. "Mom," she began, then froze, cheeks flushing red. "I mean, Aunt Taylor. Sorry." Taylor smiled gently, brushing a strand of hair from Wyatt's face. "It's okay, Bug, but you remember who your mom is, right?" Wyatt nodded earnestly. "Yeah, Mommy is my mom. And you're my Aunt Taylor. I love you both, just different." Taylor's eyes shimmered. "That's exactly right. Sweetheart." 3 months later, on a quiet Sunday morning, Taylor's phone buzzed with a message from Kylie. It was a photo of Wyatt holding up a handmade Mother's Day card. Drawn in bright crayon colors, hearts everywhere. On the front it read, "My mom is the best." Beneath the photo, Kylie had written only one line. "Thank you for loving her, and for giving her back to me." Taylor didn't even try to stop the tears this time. They weren't the aching kind anymore. They were soft, warm, and full of peace. Because sometimes, love means stepping back. Sometimes being an aunt means knowing when to let a mother reclaim her place. And sometimes, the purest kind of family love is the one that teaches you that letting go is also another way of holding on.